Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday evening with us on our YouTube channel. We're going to continue as usual until we finish the Shamati articles today, or this week. We're at Shamati number 20 from Baal HaSulam. We're going to go over it and we're going to see what we can get and extract to enhance our spiritual growth in the wisdom of Kabbalah. So, Shamati number 20, it's called Lishma. And this one, let me just bear with me so we can change the language into English. Okay, Shamati number 20, Lishma, for her sake. Okay, so Lishma means for her sake. Lo Lishma means not for her sake. So let's start reading. Concerning Lishma, in order for a person to obtain Lishma, one needs an awakening from above, as it is an illumination from above, and it is not for the human mind to understand. Rather, he who tastes knows. It is said about this, taste and see that the Lord is good. Because of this, upon assuming the burden of the kingdom of heaven, one needs it to be in utter completeness, meaning entirely to bestow, and not at all to receive. If a person sees that the organs do not agree with this view, he has no other choice but prayer, to pour out his heart to the Creator, to help him make his body agree to enslave itself to the Creator. Do not say that if Lishma is a gift from above, what good is one's overcoming and efforts, and all the remedies and corrections that he makes in order to achieve Lishma, if it depends on the Creator? Our sages said about it, you're not free to exempt yourself from it. Rather, one must give the awakening from below, and this is considered prayer. Yet, there cannot be a real prayer if he does not know first what without prayer it cannot be obtained. Therefore, the acts and remedies he makes in order to obtain Lishma create the corrected vessels in him that want to receive the Lishma. Then, after all the actions and the remedies, he can pray in earnest, since he saw that all his actions did not help him whatsoever. Only then can he make an honest prayer from the bottom of his heart, and then the Creator hears his prayer and gives him the gift of Lishma. We should also know that by obtaining Lishma, one puts the evil inclination to death. The evil inclination is called receiving for one's own benefit. By obtaining the aim to bestow, one cancels the self-benefit, putting it to death. Putting to death means that one no longer uses one's vessels of reception for oneself. And since it is no longer active, it is considered dead. If one considers what one receives from his work under the sun, he will find that it's not so difficult to submit himself to the Creator for two reasons. One must strain oneself in this world in any case, whether one wants to or not. Two, during the work, if one works Lishma, he receives pleasure from the work itself. It is as the sayer from Dubna said about the verse, "You did not call me Jacob, for you labored about me, Israel." It means that he who works for the Creator has no labor. On the contrary, one has pleasure and elation. But he who does not work for the Creator, but for other goals, cannot complain to the Creator that he's not giving him vitality in the work, since he's working for another goal. One can complain only to the one for whom he works, to give vitality and pleasure during his work. It is said about him, "They who make them shall be like them, everyone who trusts them." Do not be surprised that when one assumes the burden of the kingdom of heaven, when he wants to work in order to bestow upon the Creator, he still feels no vitality at all. Vitality which would compel one to assume the burden of the kingdom of heaven. Rather, one should accept it coercively, against his better judgment. That is, the body does not agree to this enslavement. Why does the Creator not shower him with vitality and pleasure? The reason is that this is a great correction. Were it not for this, if the will to receive had agreed to this work, one would never have been able to achieve Lishma. Rather, he would always work for his own benefit, to satisfy his own desires. It is as people say, that the thief himself yells, "Catch the thief." And then you cannot tell which is the real thief, in order to catch him and reclaim the theft from him. But when the thief, meaning the will to receive, does not find the work of accepting the burden of the kingdom of heaven tasteful, since the body accustoms itself to work against its will, one has the means by which to come to work only in order to bring contentment to his Maker, since his sole intention should be only for the Creator. As it's written, "Then shall you delight yourself in the Lord." Thus, when he served the Creator in the past, he did not sense any pleasure in the work. Rather, his work was compulsory. But now that he has accustomed himself to work in order to bestow, he is rewarded with delighting in the Creator, and the work itself renders him pleasure and vitality. This is considered that the pleasure too will be specifically for the Creator. Okay, let's do this. Now, last week we had a question from Patricia, yes? Okay, good. So let's answer her questions first. She asked, the second ML Rabash was the most difficult lesson I ever sat through. I didn't understand anything. What to do in that state? My body was in complete rejection. The second ML. Is Patricia here? The second ML. What's that ML? Let me just know if you're here. Okay. Was the most difficult lesson I ever sat through. I didn't understand anything. What to do in that state? My body was in complete rejection. Well, first of all, if we are, let me just put the article back on. Let's put it this way, because this article also answers that question. If I am rejected by the work, which the article is saying is normal, because it's completely against our desire to receive, we have to, I guess we have to pray, right? For what though? In the wisdom of Kabbalah, we come to study and to attain a higher level of perception. We want to attain a new perception which is above our normal, self-centered, corporeal perception, something above our desire to receive for ourselves. So in order to attain something above our desire to receive pleasure for ourselves, something disconnected from my personal benefit, I have to make great efforts because our nature doesn't agree to it. So whenever I feel rejection, whenever I feel that the work, like it says in this article as well, a person comes to the study, but he's not really loving it. He's not really studying with joy. Then one has to, like we've learned on many occasions, take on the burden of the kingdom of heaven, right? So that's a burden. What is that burden? Like a donkey to the load and an ox to the like a donkey to the load and ox to the, I think that I know the ox to the cart or something, right? Because ox is um, the mind, the intellect, and the donkey is the desire to receive. All right, so two animals. So we have to take on the load and do it against what we feel. And in this article as well, he explains that if I learn to do the work without getting any pleasure, then I can suppress, well, not suppress, but I can get over my desire to receive pleasure for myself and actually work because I can accustom myself to work in bestowal without getting any personal pleasure for myself. So whenever I feel rejected, when I feel rejection from the work, I just don't want to do it. I'm just not there at all. And this should happen often. Okay? They're called descents. And they should happen often if we're doing a good job. Then we have to use the environment to strengthen ourselves in the prayer. Also here, he touches note on it. Look, this is a nice little paragraph here. Look, he says, do not be surprised that when one assumes the burden of the kingdom of heaven, when he wants to work in order to bestow upon the Creator, okay, that's the initial work, right? He still feels no vitality at all. Okay, it's exactly like your state. We're like studying, we're in a lesson, and we're just like not getting anything. So it's not really giving us any vitality, because for me to have vitality, I need to feel like I'm getting something, right? Vitality, which would compel one to assume the burden of the kingdom of heaven. Rather, one should accept it coercively. So despite the fact that I'm not getting any pleasure from it, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested in doing it. I'm just not going there, right? I don't want to go there. Then I have to do it coercively against my better judgment, he says. That is, the body does not agree. The desire to receive for myself does not agree to this enslavement. Why does the Creator not shower him with vitality and pleasure? The reason is that this is a great correction. So working without any pleasure coercively is a correction, okay? Were it not for this, if the will to receive had agreed to this work, one would never have been able to achieve Lishma. So if we were always getting pleasure in the work, we would never be able to get out of our egoism. It would have been straightforward. I did something and you made payment. So everyone would be doing it egoistically, right? That is why if you feel that the lesson is difficult, the path is difficult, connecting with the friends is difficult, everything is difficult, okay? Everything is difficult. It's good. It's good because this is a correction for a person to go against his nature. So it's important for us to understand that the path is against our nature. And this is why during the work, like we've studied before, one must work a lot and one must pray a lot, as it says. All right, Devran's asking, does the Creator trust us? Does the Creator trust us? Trust us? I don't think he's crazy. Huh? I don't think he's that crazy. We can't trust ourselves. The Creator is going to trust us? No. The Creator has a plan, and obviously he can't trust us. Who can trust an egoistic desire to receive? Okay, right? You can't trust the desire to receive. So the Creator has a path, though, right? He's paved a path for us. And what we have to do is walk it. We have to walk it like it says here, coercively. And on the path, because the Creator has already planned the way, there's nothing really for him to trust in us because he's already planned it out. Okay? So there's nothing to talk about. So we will have to walk that path as humanity, whether we like it or not, coercively. All right? The path is coercive in either case, whether you do it voluntarily, whether you don't. Okay? Either way, it's coercive. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is you have an understanding about why you should be doing it coercively, while other people, they don't have an idea why they're walking or they're living in this life, and it's coercive. They're born, nobody asks them their opinion. They die, nobody asks their opinion. They go through all kinds of dramas, nobody ever asks them their opinion. They just get shaken up. Right? So we have to understand that life is coercive. The important thing for a person is how he's going to live it. Right? How you walk the path is the important thing. So by studying, we begin to understand that some things we have to take on coercively, whether we like it or not, whether we want to or not. Right? And nobody's asking us our opinion. Pelin's asking, you say that one should not go to the Creator while being unhappy. Then how am I supposed to progress both without wanting to and while being happy? I don't think I understand the question. You can't go to the Creator unhappy. Well, you can, but it just doesn't make sense. Okay, but you can cry to the Creator if that's what you're asking. Where's Pelin? Is she here? You can go to the Creator in any way. Okay, if you want to cry your heart out, go for it. Okay, it's all good. But we have to understand this. When a person's turning to the Creator, we have to just clarify before we turn to the Creator, right? Before you turn to the Creator, you have to clarify for yourself, why am I turning to the Creator? What do I really want from the Creator? Okay, because I can't be just crying like a little 5-year-old. I have to understand that the Creator can give me something that I want. But what is the right thing to want from the Creator? What is that right thing? What should I be wanting and asking for? All right? You can turn to the Creator in any way you like. On the path, one should be happy. Well, one should try to be happy. Okay, let me put it that way. So, since you can't be happy, try to be happy, okay? Norten's asking, my dear guide, under what condition does the Creator help a person? Under every condition. I mean, is it mostly in dreams? No. Why in dreams? Dreams don't help a person. What you see in life, what you see and live in life, that helps a person. Okay, why? Because what you see is what you feel, and that's your truth. And from there, you can make a sound judgment. And no dream is going to help you guys out. Okay, so no dreaming. Everyone fully focused on what I feel, what I want, what I need, what my intention is. Everything has got to be like really, really solid. Let's do it paragraph by paragraph. Concerning Lishma, in order for a person to obtain Lishma, one needs an awakening from above, as it is an illumination from above, and it is not for the human mind to understand it. So the first paragraph is already telling us, listen, the power to bestow can only be given to a person by the Creator. Okay, so on the first paragraph, he's already put one into our goal. So it's 1-0. The Creator does give the person the power to bestow, and a person has nothing to do with this at all, has no power to get this power of Lishma. Because of this, upon assuming the burden of the kingdom of heaven, one needs it to be in utter completeness, meaning entirely to bestow and not at all to receive. So initially, a person needs to understand that he can't change himself, only the Creator can. And since that's the case, the only thing we can work on is to take on the spiritual advancement, the burden of the kingdom of heaven, as it says here, in utter completeness, meaning entirely to bestow and not at all to receive. It means that on the path, I should feel like everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay, at the end of the day, the Creator brings everything to a person, all our destiny, everything we're going through in life. Okay, most of them, 99% of them, in fact, maybe more even, is out of our control. We only react to life. Okay? There's nothing in life we control, not our birth, not our death, we don't know anything about what's going to happen tomorrow or even the next minute. We just have no idea at all. All right, so we have to understand that there's none else besides him. Everything comes to a person from the Creator. So on his spiritual path, one must believe that everything is exactly how it should be for his development or her development. Okay? The good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful, everything together. If a person sees that the organs do not agree with this view, he has no other choice but prayer. So my will to receive, my desire to receive, is not going to agree with the work. And then I have no other choice but prayer. Okay? This should be a happy situation because it allows me to turn to the Creator. I see my nature is not giving me an opportunity to change. I can't change my nature. I begin to see I can't change myself. If I see that, I can pray. If I don't see that, I can't pray. All right? If a person sees that the organs do not agree with this view, he has no other choice but prayer, to pour out his heart to the Creator to help him make his body agree to enslave itself to the Creator. All right, see, Pelin? You can pour your heart out to the Creator to help you and make your body agree, which is the desire to receive for oneself. That's what the body is, to enslave itself to the Creator. Creator meaning bestowal, right? The Creator doesn't need us as slaves, obviously. A person is either a slave to his own desire to receive pleasure or to the Creator's nature, which is called the Creator here, which is love of others and bestowal. In either case, everybody should understand we're going to be slaves to something. Okay? So we're either going to be a slave to our desire to receive, or we're going to be a slave to the desire to bestow. But everybody understands that everybody is a slave to their nature. There's no getting out of that one or the other. Do not say that Lishma is a gift from above. What good is one's overcoming and efforts and all the remedies and corrections that he makes in order to achieve Lishma if it depends on the Creator? Okay, so he's asking a logical question. In the first paragraph, it said only the Creator can give a person Lishma. Okay, so why do you want me to work for it? If only the Creator can give it, why do I need to exert all this effort to try to achieve something I can never achieve? Well, what's the answer? Our sages said about it, you are not free to exempt yourself from it. Rather, one must give the awakening from below, and this is considered a prayer. So a person needs to want to get to Lishma. So the prayer should be to want to be in Lishma, to want to be in bestowal. Yet there cannot be a real prayer if he does not know first that without prayer it cannot be obtained. Okay, so I can't really go to the Creator with an honest, sincere, heartfelt prayer if I don't know how bad my ego is, so I can run away from it to become something its opposite. Okay, and if we didn't work on the love of others, we would never know our ego. You see everybody out there on the streets sending each other hearts, kuchi muchi, all that kind of jazz. Okay, and we understand already, studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, that human nature is not all that kuchi muchi. So when we study, we begin to understand that everything we're doing is egoistic and it's not a nice thing. So then we begin to see that we really need to change. And that comes to a person, the understanding, okay? The understanding and the need to change comes to a person because they exerted in the work. And then a person begins to understand, wow, my nature is really crap. So I need to get out of this. We'll later see, when you study more, you'll see that there's only one person in the world that does harm to you, and that's you. Nobody else does harm to another person except that individual. Okay? And all our bad days and sufferings are caused because of our egoistic nature. This is why they ran away from Egypt, right? They saw how horrific their nature was. And that's why they got all those problems there. So a person cannot really pray if he doesn't know what the right thing to attain is. Therefore, the acts and remedies he makes in order to obtain Lishma create the corrected vessel in him that want to receive Lishma. So the more we work, we begin to want the proper thing, the right thing from the Creator, and that is we want to receive, to be in Lishma, to be in bestowal. Then after all the actions and the remedies, he can pray in earnest, since he saw that all his actions did not help him whatsoever. All right, so all these things bring me to see two things. One, recognition of evil. Two, I can't change my nature. And then I can come to a prayer. This is why the study is important. This is why actively working with the friends is important. And this is why one should constantly be in this movement of going forward, to constantly discover that our egoism is causing us harm, so we can really want to change. Now, until this point, all this time, the person has no idea about what bestowal is. Okay, remember, first thing, recognition of evil. Second of all, I want to escape from the evil. But nobody knows what bestowal is. All right? This is why in the story of Exodus of Egypt, they're jumping into the water, right? They just jump into the water. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but what they do know is they don't want to be like yesterday. Okay? Only then can he make an honest prayer from the bottom of his heart, and then the Creator hears his prayer and gives him the gift of Lishma. We should also know that by obtaining Lishma, one puts the evil inclination to death, which means I stop using my desire to receive egoistically. The evil inclination is called receiving for one's own benefit, right? This is our egoism, using our desire egoistically. By obtaining the aim to bestow, one cancels the self-benefit, putting it to death. This means that one no longer uses one's vessel of reception for oneself, and since it is no longer active, it's considered death. If one considers that one receives for his work, if one considers what one receives for his work under the sun, he will find that it's not so difficult to submit himself to the Creator for two reasons. One must strain oneself in this world in any case, whether one wants to or not. Okay, this is important to understand. Whether I like it or not, life is going to be tough for everyone. And it is tough for everyone, even for rich and seemingly happy people. Why? Well, for one thing, as we already know from the laws of nature, desire and pleasure cancel each other out, which means no matter what you get in life, you're always going to end up with a minus, not even a zero, a minus. Okay, this is why everybody's running after new pleasures all the time. You just can't get fulfilled, and it's a pain in the neck. So you have to keep running and running and running until you end up dead. Okay, so in any case, one has to force oneself to live. 2, during the work too, if one works Lishma, he receives pleasure from the work itself. Now this is like becoming an artisan. Okay, if I'm an artist and I love my work, sleepless nights don't matter. Hungry days don't matter. Why? Because I love what I'm doing. All right, and that's what Lishma is. If one is in bestowal, one is in great joy and happiness, and therefore he is in completeness. But if he does not work for the Creator, but for other goals, cannot complain to the Creator that he has not giving him vitality in the work, since he is working for another goal. This is important to understand. If you work at it, there'll be days when you feel tired, right? But as soon as you stick your head into something in order to bestow, you will get liveliness just like that. Okay? It's like you will feel it. You're feeling all of a sudden this liveliness, especially when you're going against your nature. All right, so it's an important discernment one will get as one works. Right, you'll have sleepless nights, you'll be tired, blah blah blah, and then you want to do something in order to bestow, and it's like all of a sudden you're like up and running. All right, so it's all about being sincere in why you want to do the work. And what it says, do not be surprised that when one assumes the burden of the kingdom of heaven, when he wants to work in order to bestow upon the Creator, he still feels no vitality at all. Vitality which would compel one to assume the burden of the kingdom of heaven. Rather, one should accept it coercively. And when you have days when you have no desire, but you want to work to bestow, but you still feel tired, then what should you do? Then you should compel yourself to work coercively. All right, like we go to work coercively. We do the same thing every morning, right? We go to work coercively. Okay, that's just how it is. So we do a lot of things in life coercively. A person should do the same here as well. One should accept it coercively against his better judgment. That is, the body does not agree to this enslavement. Okay, so I don't agree. It doesn't matter. I still go to work. So, same with spirituality. The reason that we don't get pleasure, okay, is because this is a great correction. So to work without a reward, without a sweet, without a reward, is a correction for the person. Were it not for this, if the will to receive had agreed to this work, one would never be able to achieve Lishma. Okay? So that should be really clear for us. If we expect reward in the work, we would never ever leave our egoism. No way. Rather, he would always work for his own benefit to satisfy his own desires. All right, so now that he has accustomed himself to work in order to bestow, without getting any reward, if you accustom yourself to work without any reward, any pleasure whatsoever, in order to bestow, then he is rewarded with delighting in the Creator, and the work itself renders him pleasure and vitality. This is considered that the pleasure too will be specifically for the Creator. So everything, even the pleasure I get from bestowal, should be for the Creator. All right? Any dramas? Ingrid's asking, how is it possible to smile and show friends example on the path if one has no choice and is coerced? It's exactly then you have a choice. I don't want to smile because I don't like doing what I'm doing. Okay. This is exactly the time to think about why I need to smile. Look, like sometimes we have bad days at work, right? And then I come home or I work from home, but let's say I had a bad day at work and Altan came home from school, right? He rushes up to my room. I can't show him a bad face. Okay? It's just not right. First of all, it's not his fault. Okay? So I can't show him a bad face just because I'm having a bad day. So despite the fact that I am having a bad day, I make sure I got a smile on my face. I give him a good hug. I want to play with him. Despite the fact that I might have something urgent to do, I make sure I spend at least some time with him. Okay, why? Because he's important. So if the friends are important, if the creator is important, I can think about why I need to do certain things, even though I don't feel like I want to do them. This is exactly where your choice is. To do something for the benefit of others, despite the fact that your heart doesn't want to go there. So work on it. It takes a lot of exercise, but you should work on that. Emotic is asking, free will must be the reaction to the circumstance then, meaning our attitude. Yep. Your attitude, what you are going to choose. How will you choose to behave? Devran's asking, I now answer 80 to 90% of the questions I'm about to ask you by myself. Is this related to my gradual learning? Is there a connection between us, or is it just my fantastic imagination? Well, I don't know if it's your fantastic imagination, but hopefully after 1 year of lessons, you should advance a little bit. Right? Come on. Yes, you should learn. You should advance. Now you should be thinking, well, what should I be doing too? Where should I be making effort? Okay, knowing isn't enough. In our business, doing is the action. So the more I do, the more questions you'll have afterwards. Okay, so a lot of doing, a lot of going through new feelings, new sensations, new things, new discernments. and then you can move forward. Sarai is asking, in this article, it says the action and corrections that a person performs in order to attain Lishma create the proper vessel required for the desire to attain Lishma. But on the other hand, if the Creator created everything from the start, and whether this vessel will be formed or not is also determined by the Creator. No, it's determined by your prayer. Then what should these actions and corrections be so that a person can fulfill the Creator's desire? A person needs to study, like we're reading the articles now, right? But you have to understand the Creator. Yeah, maybe the Creator did pave all the path. We don't know that. That's what the Kabbalists are saying. And they've given us an answer. Look, what does it say here? He's asking the question that you're asking. If Lishma is a gift from above, what good is one's overcoming and efforts? And all the remedies and corrections that he makes in order to achieve Lishma, if it depends on the Creator? I say, if everything depends on the Creator, what am I doing? Right? He answers, you're not exempt. You're not free to exempt yourself from it. It means you have to do the work, right? You're not exempt from the work. Rather, one must give the awakening from below. Awakening is from below. Okay? And this is considered a prayer. Yet there cannot be a real prayer if he does not know first that without prayer it cannot be obtained. So without a desire, you can't have light. No desire, no taste. It's like that in real life as well, right? If you're not hungry and I force feed you, you will not get any pleasure. You get pleasure when you have a desire for something. So if you don't have a desire, you get nothing. So what good is the Creator doing the whole path if you don't want it? This is why life is coercing us. He's telling us in the article as well. Look, in two stages, he's saying, look, if one considers what one receives from his work under the sun, he will find that it is not so difficult to submit himself to the Creator for two reasons. One must strain oneself in this world in any case. In any case, living in this world is a stress, right? Yeah, whether one wants to or not. Okay, so the Creator's already created a world that will make us want it. You understand? He will make us want it. So the smart thing is to want it before he makes us want it. That's the difference between doing the work and not doing the work. All right? Handan's asking, the article says that the body fiercely opposes Lishma. How can we detect the body's resistance among the friends? And how can we support one another? Well, if you stick your head in there, you'll get resistance. It's a matter of working, trying to love the friends, trying to do something good for them every day. And then you're slowly going to say, what am I doing with these people? Right now, because we're in the learning environment, our ego isn't that coerced. It's not that against it. Because we're learning new things, we're enjoying what we've learned as well. We like learning these new concepts and everything. It gives us a new perspective. All of a sudden, we can answer questions. Look, Devran's answering now all the questions. See? Okay? Yeah. So we're all feeling good. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I like this business. Yeah, this feels rather nice. And then next year, we're going to start talking about and doing, not just talking, but doing the acts of what it says here, right? Like Sarah asked a minute ago. Okay. What does it say? The actions and corrections that a person performs in order to attain Lishma. Actions that we have to do. And what is a good action? Well, a good action is you doing everything you can for the friends so that they can advance in spirituality without thinking of Handan, obviously. What do you think? Sounds like a good idea. I don't know. When it comes to doing it, I don't know. Okay? Because then you're going to start thinking, well, what about my spirituality? Why am I helping everybody else? And when am I going to get spiritual? Or when am I going to get something? You start asking those questions. And then when you start asking yourself those questions, we'll have another talk. Yeet is asking. One side of me remembers that you told me before obstacles make us stronger. Yes, obstacles make us stronger. And I'm beginning to see that, yes. These challenges are helping me grow. At the same time, in the back of my head, there's no one else besides him. Even though I'm growing, the political behavior in the corporate world is killing me inside. I struggle to stay quiet and I have a hard time filtering my words, which creates even more difficulties for me at work. My question is, should I just accept the politics, get paid, and let them give me a hard time without respect, or should I continue to fight professionally for what's right? My eyesight feels blurry. Should I still see them, they're saying right things? I still keep following your advice and read Shamati 1 all times. Please help. At work, you know what they say. You've got to be like a little fox. Okay? Work is work. You know, you have to do what you're paid to do. You do your job good, you can get a job anywhere. Right? At the end of the day, you don't have to be terrorized by everybody else. You can still stand up for what's right. Just be clear about what's right and wrong at work before you do something. Okay? Because what's right for you may not be right for the company. You understand what I mean? You have to play by the book. Okay, and the best way to play by the book is if you do your job good, if you do a good job, if they see you doing your good job and you're doing a good job, and then they see and feel you're reliable, okay, then that's it. You got nothing to be afraid of because even if you don't work there, you can work somewhere else. It's all about getting your job done. And obviously, do a bit of a balancing act. Why? Because you have to act according to the corporeal environment when you're working out there. Okay? So you can't treat those people or look at those people as if you want to bestow on them or something. You've got to treat them like how you should in real corporeal life. You understand what I mean? Okay? So treat them accordingly to corporate culture wherever you're working. Okay? And if they're abusing your rights, obviously stand up for them. All right? So you don't have to get abused, obviously. But it's good you're reading Shamati 1 all the time. Aishagil's asking, now when I take action, I cancel myself and do whatever I do for my friends. And at some point, the condition, what will happen to me, will arise. At this point, shouldn't I think, this situation is not my problem, it's my friend's problem? If I remain patient, until it is more fully developed, won't the issue remain unresolved? I didn't say you shouldn't answer those questions if they arise in you. I said they will arise in you, right? So the question is, what should I do if they do arise in me? Yes or no? Is it clear? You are going to have a question when you're doing things for your friends, okay, and then there will come a time and you say, well, what am I going to get? What am I supposed to get? I want spirituality, okay? So that question will come up. Question. Now I have a question. What are you going to do then? You have to answer the question. You can't bury it. So you have to answer your question accordingly. How are you going to answer the question? What about my spirituality? What am I going to get from this? What's the answer? You have to think and clarify for yourself what the goal is. And then you can answer that question. Otherwise, you can't. You can't answer any question if your goal is not clear for you. If what you need to attain is not clear, there is no answer to those questions. You'll just get aggravated, irritated, and then you'll leave the path. Logical, yes? Think about it. Pelin's asking, being here with the friends feels like a reward. Is it because we're at the beginning of the path? Yes, but it should always feel like a reward. The Creator doesn't wake everybody up. If somebody woke up, it's a reward. And I wouldn't miss out on it even after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So be smart. It's not for today. It's for a lifetime. All right. I think that's about it. No, I've got another program in 5. And that's about it, right? We're all good. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. And we'll continue with Shamati 21 next time. All the best.